Ladies and gentlemen, thanks to huge discoveries in quantum physics, we are starting to realize that we have access to an infinite potential of realities that we can live. So today, I'm going to be breaking down frequency, vibration, and energy in the lens of unlocking financial abundance. And this was the exact mindset shift I had to go through to build my first $1 million business and change my reality through and through. Now, the biggest shift that you're going to need to go through is you are going to have to shift from an outdated paradigm of the universe where you want to have certain things. And because you don't have certain things, that leads you to do certain things that keep you stuck in conditioned programs. If we can make this shift through moving beyond that old, outdated mindset and unlock the quantum view of yourself, where you use energy, frequency, and vibration to change your internal state, allowing you to be a different person, which leads you to do certain things, which allows you to have certain outcomes, like the $1 million frequency. But before I can teach you how to go through the paradigm shift on this spectrum or this map of consciousness, I need to break down the most fundamental shift in our worldview and how you need to view yourself. In the 1700s, there was a very influential scientist named Rene Descartes. Not only that, but there is a very, very influential physicist named Newton. So, Newton and Descartes were super impactful in discovering our original view of the universe. And this original view was mechanistic. Big word, Grant. The most important thing you need to understand about this is they thought the mind and matter were separate. They thought matter existed under a set of fundamental or mechanical laws of nature, which is where we get mechanistic. This leads to a cause and effect view of reality. We think if we work hard or we force our way into discipline, into building that business, that we're going to achieve the things we have. But no, this is completely outdated. This is an old mindset that keeps you stuck. And it keeps you stuck because this gives us the illusion that, hey, I want to have $1 million. It's got our mindset completely inverted. And when I have that $1 million, I will do certain things, like work hard, or be abundant, or give. Sorry, I'm using abbreviations, but work hard, be abundant, and give. And that'll eventually make me be a certain person. I will be that version of myself I've always dreamed of. Because we think that our experience falls into these universal laws. But this is completely wrong. And it all comes down to one of the most influential, honestly, the most influential scientist of all time. Everyone knows him, and he's got a super famous equation. And this equation is E equals mc squared. Yes, the one and only Mr. Einstein. Now, why is this so important? Because his fundamental discovery was that mind and matter are so interrelated that they are fundamentally two sides of the same coin. But we're also going to develop this. It's energy and matter. Now, this is so important to understand because now this completely reframes our influence that we have as individuals on the material world. And I'm going to break down how we exercise this type of influence, but I want to show you how this fundamentally changes the way you need to look at the world. Because we know that what we hold in mind, or what we hold energetically in the form of thoughts, right? We know thoughts impact us at a fundamental level, but they're also going to be reflected in the matter. Because we think certain things, feel certain things, and act a certain way, which makes us be a certain version of ourselves. When I had that graph drawn out and there's that $1 million frequency, that comes down to you being a certain version of yourself. For me, that's showing up and making YouTube content. Because when I'm being a certain person that's abundant and that's living from this quantum view of the universe, you're going to realize that, oh my God, I can have everything I want. Because I have access to infinite energetic potential. And we're going to break that down. But I wanted to show you how if you're living in that old Newtonian view of the universe, you're telling yourself, I want to have $1 million. And then I'll do things like work hard and build the business. And eventually I'll be the person. No, you have to be the person now. You have to show up and post the videos when one person watches. Just like you have to show up and post the videos when 100,000 people watches. You do not change. Because being your internal state, the mind, your thoughts, your energy, is the only thing you really have control over. And this will eventually reflect in the world of matter, right? It reflects in your actions, which are physical manifestations of the energy, and eventually through consistency, you will have. But let's break down how you have access to infinite energetic potential. But just remember, with this new quantum view of yourself and of the universe, it completely uproots everything we know about the cause and effect. The cause and effect is outdated. Cause and effect is the idea that if I work hard and force my way to the top, then I'll have $1 million. No. Don't you want an effortless version of yourself that you can impact at the quantum energetic level that will lead to the things you desire? All right, ladies and gentlemen, wanted to take a quick moment. Now that you're starting to shift your mindset and move into this new way of being, if you want actual practical workbooks and trainings that you can use to actually start to interact with the shift, not just consume information, but put yourself in a state of transformation where you can actually go from just being a certain person to actually making efforts to do new things, to see that transformation you seek. One, I'm streaming live on YouTube tonight at 5:30 p.m. PST, so tune into that. I want to see all the OGs out there. We're gonna have a great time. But also, get this free workbook. I put a free workbook together in the description. I'm also gonna give it out at the live stream. All right, ladies and gentlemen, nothing but love. Let's get back to the video. Now, let me break down the science for you. And I'm gonna tie this to how this leads to the $1 million frequency, because I'm gonna break it down. But I need to impact your worldview and your concept of yourself at a core if I'm going to be able to help you transform, if I'm going to give you a reason to show up and do the work every day. Now, because of Einstein's impactful E equals mc square, it led to more experiments. Scientists had to dive into this further, and they started investigating light. And what they discovered about light was that there were times where it behaved like a wave of energy, right? And there were times where it behaved like a particle, which is physical matter. It is a measurable point in time and space. When a wave of energy is just energetic potential, this completely reframed and revalidated this worldview once again. It confirmed the idea that mind does equal matter. And the reason I'm just framing it through this lens is because this is the only thing you need to understand. If you understood that your mind impacted the matter in every moment, would you ever let a negative thought or a negative emotion go by? No. But let's break this down on what this looks like for you. Because scientists discovered something called the observer effect. And this is the idea that on the subatomic level of the atom, okay, this isn't not an accurate representation of the atom, but I'm just drawing this out, right? This is the old, outdated view of the atom. Oh my God, there's a nucleus and protons, neutrons, and electrons just floating around in space. This is what people have in that materialistic, Newtonian, outdated paradigm. This is what they think it looks like. But what's actually going on is this is the electron cloud. The subatomic particles is literally no thing. It's literally no thing. Now pay attention to the word thing, because what it really is 99.999% energetic potential. Now, when these scientists would go to observe the electron, they realized that they would collapse it from a wave of energetic potential into an electron through the pure sake of observation. This is so important to understand because as we transition back into talking about frequency and our level of awareness and who we are being, when we are in those lower states of energy, those states of force, those states of fear, we're calling upon this infinite energetic potential, this 99.999% energy, this pure possibility. It's literally potentiality because it hasn't become a physical experience yet. If we're coming and observing life from a place of negativity, no wonder we're going to attract negative experiences into our life and collapse the negativity into the level of awareness and observational experience we have. But if we can completely reframe and shift our mindset through starting to live life in this way, through realizing that we are connected to this intelligent quantum field, that it's picking up on our energy and information at all times, and we can truly start to live in this way, we're going to be able to consciously choose thoughts and emotions of the same frequency of experience that we want to have, which will allow us to collapse that physical experience into reality. But now that you have an understanding of this shift, right? We're going from an outdated Newtonian view of the universe where matter comes first. We're like, hey, this universe is just set in stone. We have no influence over it. Wrong. We actually influence every single thing we experience through what we observe on a fundamental subatomic particle level. I'm not a quantum physicist. I'm not gonna act like I have a degree in this complex science. This is just me reading, studying up, internalizing the information, and actually applying it. Like, think about it. If you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, you're going to have a negative day because you started off in that negative level of awareness, that negative observational state. Your day unfolded like that in physical reality. Versus you could have went through the same exact things you went through in that day, but if you had a positive, optimistic outlook, it would have been a great day. So let's break down this field a little further. We know it's mind and matter. We know it's energetic potential. But what actually is this field of energy? So, coming back, this is an infinite field of energetic potential. This is a big word. Because it's technically no thing, right? It's not physical matter yet. It's just waves of probability. This means it's everything. Because it's probability, it has the potential energy to collapse into whatever experience, which means there's an infinite amount of possibility, which means the $1 million frequency exists in this field of energy. But how do we access this field of energy? Because what is it? Well, one, we know this energy is frequency, right? And this frequency carries information. Now, what this tells me is this infinite field of energy at the quantum level it's a natural intelligence. Think about it. It's taking high frequency energy and lowering it and organizing it into slow frequency, which gives us matter, or what we observe is the 3D, right? But it's all the same energy because it's unified. It's all coming from the same source, which leads to our goals. To enter this state, you know you are entering the state of consciousness or this frequency or this level of awareness when you feel whole. Because when you are whole, you are creating from the truth. You are creating from your natural state. Everything in the physical universe, this is its natural state. It is just transmutating its energy into a denser state, which gives us a physical experience. These expo markers, still energy in a lower state. Whiteboard, energy. My word is energy, just in a higher pitch frequency that you can only hear, you can't see, right? This is how we look at energy in different ways. If we start to see life in this way, we're gonna realize, okay, everything I do want exists. This $1 million frequency I do want is out here somewhere. And there's a certain version of me that is being a certain person, doing certain things, and having that $1 million outcome, metaphorically. Now, there's also a version of you you're being right now that is not experiencing what you want to experience, because you're being a certain person, but you're not doing the things that are aligning with what you desire, which are leading to the things you have right now. Now, what's beautiful about this information is that it's liberating. It restores your ability to consciously create for yourself. So, as we move back into the next section and we come back to the map of consciousness, or the levels of frequencies that you are going to have to navigate to get to where you want to go, to unlock this version of yourself that's abundant, I want you to rest easy in this information, knowing that you have the tools to change. It's your natural state. We just need to overcome the version of yourself that is addicted to that old Newtonian, outdated paradigm of the universe. And we need to put in the work. Expo marker, baby. We need to put in the work, shift our frequency, live life by being a certain person that does certain things, which will eventually lead to the outcome. But remember, it's not about having than doing things than being a certain person, because that's the old version. It's about being a certain person that aligns with this natural intelligence, exists under its laws, and can consciously make decisions that align with this version of you that is going to lead to this outcome. Now let's move in to the next section, where we start to break down what this shift looks like in your everyday life. I really do love this information, guys. It changes how I see everything. So let's dive into it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that we've covered that basic mindset shift from an outdated Newtonian frame of mind to a view of the quantum universe and the quantum you, I want to re-anchor us in the one key piece of understanding and the goal with the entirety of this video. It's all about wholeness, right? Because when we can step into that unified field, we become no thing, because we dissolve the concept of separation, right? We dissolve those old mindsets, that ego, that mindset that keeps us separate from our goals, that makes us feel like we're not enough, because that's what the lower states of energy are. Bringing this back full circle, I can dive deeper into this concept, because the more powerful frequencies that you're after are power. But the lower frequencies of energy that keep us trapped are force. And that's why chasing our goals can be so frustrating. Because operating from a place of force or a place of lack inherently creates counter force, right? This is a physics term. But the general understanding in our own life is that power is a sense of truth. It's a sense of wholeness. It's a sense of understanding of where we fit in this picture. And we fit in creationist health. Man was created in the image of God. We fit in no thing because we're already complete. We're not separate, which makes us exist in a state of unity. But falsehood is an illusion, and it comes from a place of force. It comes from a place of ego. It comes from a place of separation. So bringing it back full circle to the Newtonian, right? Newtonian is going to be the lower outdated states. And we'll just throw Newton right here. Now, if you can recall what I was talking about, we were talking about how this Newtonian Descartes' paradigm of the universe is mechanistic, right? We say that the material world of matter is separate from the inner world of mind. So, the matter exists under scientific laws, and the mind is governed under more religious and philosophical laws. Now, this is where we have the equation backwards, right? We started the video talking about the equation be, do, have, and how when you unlock this energetic state within, you start to naturally do things. Doing can be thinking certain thoughts related to your goals, feeling certain emotions of excitement related to your goals, doing certain types of work that you would have normally procrastinated on, doing certain things for random strangers or family members or friends in your relationships, right? That's all manifesting from your internal energetic state, right? Then that will lead to you to have certain things because you get what you give. And we'll cover that in the next section. But it's really important that you understand the gap in between the two ways that you live. I had to give you context to the science and how our perspective and paradigm is shifting as humans and what it means to exist in this energetic reality, right? But now that we know mind and matter are one, this old have, do, be mindset, right? Let's say you're in the mindset of desire. You're like, I want to build a business that has $1 million. And deeper than that, you want freedom, you want fulfillment, you want that sense of peace, knowing that you're secure. You want a sense of love, right? Those are like the deeper rooted desires we have when we chase material things. But to say I want this creates an inherent state of lack because we're doing it backwards. We're saying, once I have $1 million, then I will do certain things like work hard and be grateful and show up and take care of the people in my life. Then I can finally say I'm being someone worth pursuing. You see how that is just a distraught and distorted, outdated paradigm of reality? Now, let's take it up a level, because if we can dissolve this way of being and we can overcome the illusion and we can start to live knowing that mind and matter are one, and we can invest our time on our inner world, our inner energy, which impacts how we do stuff, we're going to be working on our state of being. And the higher we climb energetically, the more we shift our frequency and we let go of old, outdated paradigms, it becomes effortless, because all the energy and resistance you were exercising, keeping you in the state of survival, was forceful. Think about how liberating it is to just let go. When you're being someone that no longer falls victim to the Newtonian and Descartes paradigm of the universe, you take responsibility. You're like, oh my God, all I needed to do was bring my focus inward. All I needed to do was bring my attention inward. All I needed to do was cultivate abundance. All I needed to do was get clear on what it takes to be this type of person that is going to have the outcome of $1 million, right? But $1 million is just bigger than a dollar amount. And that's what we're going to dive into, because I want to show you the difference in levels of being. So someone that wants $1 million but is stuck in their old ways procrastinates. Now, procrastination is a big one, because if you think about it, they're saying, I'll do it tomorrow. Well, tomorrow doesn't exist. Everything exists as energetic potential right now in the present moment. Once again, falling victim to that Newtonian paradigm. They complain. They say, well, I can't do that. I come from this small rural town in Minnesota, and we didn't have the same education. I didn't grow up in a successful family. How could I be someone that does that? Once again, Newtonian. You're looking at the world of matter saying, that's set in stone. I can't do anything about it. They also probably experience a sense of fear, which is really just insecurity. When you're like, I'm never going to be able to build that business. I'm not a YouTuber. I can't post videos on social media. I don't know how to build a landing page or build a product or set up a checkout to sell a digital product. That's coming from a microscopic view of your identity, the lowercase version of self that is rooted in force. It's your ego wanting to keep itself alive, saying, I'll never be able to do that. Keep me safe, keep me safe. When the real path is dissolving this. Someone that exists at that $1 million frequency is selfless. They've came to the place where they realize they can't negotiate with their ego. There's no thing they could do to ever calm the mind or the ego. They have to bypass it. And they bypass it through letting go, through surrendering, through meditation, which inherently makes them selfless. Because the self is a lower state of energy, right? It is a more pinholed, individualized, and separate concept. Versus being selfless is accessing a grander, more expansive pool of energy, right? You see how there's just parallels in everything? There's synchronicities in everything. What's beautiful is they're also detached, because they don't need anything. They're operating from the sense of wholeness. They're operating from the sense of no thing, right? That's what it comes back to when we look at the quantum model, that quantum version of you. You technically exist as no thing because the electron cloud is moving in from potentiality to actuality, and all it requires is an observer. So the more you can go inward, the more you can detach from the conversation you have with yourself in your mind, the more you can detach from those emotions of lack, the emotions of scarcity. And it's right now, it's an in the moment type of thing. It's a remembrance because this exists. This is your natural state. And that's the biggest thing I want you to take from this video. You do not need to force it because force is the thing that creates resistance and resistance is the thing that creates counterforce, right? Your frequency is actually what you frequently see. So are you going to be looking at it from a lens of scarcity, a lens of falsehood, a lens of lack? And is that going to impact the things you do, which impact the things you have, because that's who you're being? Because you don't get what you want, you get who you are. And who you are is a product of who you are being, who you are consciously choosing to be in this moment. This person that has the $1 million frequency is whole, right? The sense of wholeness can come from a sense of gratitude, being like, oh my God. All desires aside, I'm so grateful I have the opportunity to wake up every day. I'm so grateful I have the opportunity to become better, to access this type of wisdom, to spend more time with people I love, to be more present, to really extract everything this life has to offer for me. Because the source always provides. You see the difference? One person needs to be validated by having certain things in the material world, which is that outdated Newtonian paradigm. And when they don't have those things, that leads them to do certain things because they're coming from a place of lack. They're trying to fill that black hole, which might be smoking weed, which might be eating, which might be doom scrolling. That's where all the bad habits come because they're coming from that place of emptiness. Because we have an outdated paradigm of life versus someone that operates in a sense of power is coming from a place of gratitude, coming from a place of wholeness, coming from a place of no thing. Because desire, it's okay to have, but it cannot control you. Desire leads to suffering if you allow it to fall into this outdated paradigm of the universe. But this paradigm of the universe allows you to see potential, allows you to see through the illusion and be like, oh my God, the things I desire will be a byproduct of my life if I can become this person. It becomes objective. I know if I become a better YouTube creator, I dive deeper into the wisdom, I provide more value, I show up more consistently for you guys in a way that actually changes you, I'm going to have all the things I want. I'm not chasing it. I'm not forcing it. I'm coming back to the center. I have to anchor myself in this wisdom before I even hop on the whiteboard. It shows up in everything. You might be unconsciously picking up on it. You might be consciously picking up on it. But this is how reality operates. And I wanted to break down energy through the lens of a state of being, right? So remember, we change our state of being by actually letting go. We let go of the idea of falsehood. And we do this they're just being present in the moment. I promise you it's that simple. It's just being like, I can't entertain that thought right now. And if you entertain that thought and it gives you a certain emotion, be like, it's okay, I feel this anxiety. I'm just going to sit with it and let it go. But if you keep falling down that spiral, you're going to spiral out of control back into these lower states in the unconditioned programs or the conditioned programs that keep you stuck in those lower levels. You want to be selfless, you want to be attached, you want to be whole, and you want to be grateful. Because if you can enter this state, I'm going to show you what actually happens when you enter into this state of wholeness. What happens when you start to give the experience you want to reality. And that's what we're going to break down in this section, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get into it. Now remember, I'm also going to be live streaming tonight, talking about all this type of stuff at 5:30 p.m. PST here on YouTube. We'll be on the whiteboard, we'll be chatting. We got a great community. I'm hoping to see the OG, so I'm mentioning it in this video, 5:30 p.m. PST. But also make sure to get your free workbook if you're not going to be there, because it's going to break down all of this and allows you to do certain reflection and certain exercises that put you into this state of wholeness, that put you into this frequency you seek. Now, one of the greatest challenges people face coming out of the have, do, be mindset is they want to get something, right? They want to receive. But one of the secrets of the universe is energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transmutated and recycled, right? So all of the energy in this unified field is set, and it is manifesting in and out of material experience and recycling, right? That's why we have the circle of life. We will all, as matter, dissipate and fall back into an energetic state, because then we become potential again to reincarnate or take a new form in evolution. But so many people are focused on taking, right? They're sucking the energy out of consumption, right? Think about it. When you're in those lower states, you consume. I'm just going to go have, do, be, because this is that outdated Newtonian paradigm. Think about it. You consume social media, you consume food, you consume negative thoughts, you consume and entertain the idea that you're never going to get to where you want to go. You see how dangerous that is? Because you're operating from an inverted and outdated paradigm of the universe. You're operating from a place of lack, but also a place of falsehood. Because your scarcity and your fear is literally an illusion. It's literally not real. The truth is, we are connected to this divine source. And if you can anchor yourself in this realization, you're going to be able to transition the flow of energy. You're going to be able to start to allow it to flow in your life. But if you only operate from this mindset, if you need to have $1 million to be a good person, you're fucking up. I'm just going to be honest with you. If you're waiting for things to get life to get good, you're cutting off the flow of energy. You are literally cutting off half the flow of the energy of the universe, because you're only trying to take, you're only trying to receive, you're only trying to get. When the truth is, you only get what you give. And giving is a form of creation, right? And this mindset is be, do, have. Right? These are the differences. Because when you fill yourself up with abundance in the mindset that you're already whole, that you need no thing, that you're already connected to the infinite source, you're creating a positive experience for yourself, because you're finding what you seek. You become the source of what you seek. So you end up giving. This is a huge one. You create from a place of abundance. Think about it. You are already whole. Your cup is overflowing. Thy cup overfloweth. And when you really rest in that awareness, when you really rest in this understanding, you start to overflow with love, because you find the beauty in life. You find it in the simple things. I find love and abundance in creating this content for you guys. And it's free. It's readily available. All I need to do is give, invest my time, my energy, and my attention. And guess what I get? I get to receive things in return. I receive such positive comments from you guys. You guys fill my heart. I receive an amazing community of like-minded people that want the same things as me. I received the opportunity to launch programs and workshops where I get to work with you guys in a deeper capacity. But it all started because I gave. But I became the source. Or you become the source of what you seek. And that's the biggest thing I want you to take away from this. You need to stop seeking things. Because when you seek, you're aiming to have. When you have, you create from this place of lack, which is really the energy you begin giving to the universe, because it's where your frame of awareness is coming from. Because at your energy, you'll start to do certain things as correlation to this, which will lead you to be a certain person. But let's break it down how it's actually going down energetically. Because you're being in a state of lack, you're doing certain things like complaining and procrastinating, which leads you to have the same emotion that you're creating. You see how this energy is playing out regardless? It's happening whether you're aware of it or not. But let's look at it from the lens. If we create from this place of wholeness, and I'll break it down to what it looked like for me. When I was in this state, I wanted to have money. So I would look for social media creators to make money with, right? I was coming from a place of lack, which is unsustainable. Because when you get the thing you were looking for, when you force your way to that outcome, you still feel empty. So you're even more fucked up. You're like, oh my God, I did not want any of this. I am so screwed. And then you self-sabotage and you fall back to the level of awareness, the frequency that you're programmed for. So I'm trying to get you guys to see if we can start from the truth, if we can start from the end, you're gonna be able to create from this place. You're gonna create from revelation. You're gonna create from awareness. You're gonna create from wholeness because you need nothing. You're living in a place of unity because you're connected to life itself. For me, this is where I got messed up because I wanted to have something which led me to do certain things, which led me to be a person I was programmed to be. And this just led to a messed up life at some point. I was making all the money in the world. I was making $267,000 a month at one point. But then I started smoking weed. Because when I got paid out someone's full salary on a random Tuesday, I never felt more empty. I was like, what does this matter? I'm sitting here in a shoebox in the sky, in a downtown high-rise apartment, spending $4,000 a month, and I feel empty. Like, what am I seeking? What is the point of this? And I had just some existentialism going on. But it's because I was just operating in this manner. You can even have the things you seek, but still be consuming. I had the money that I thought I wanted because it was an illusion, but I was still consuming and smoking weed and drinking, not taking care of my body. Because deep down, I was in a state of lack. I was pursuing something that I was never going to find because I was living in a place of falsehood, which inherently created an illusion that my ego fed. But now what I'm doing differently this time is I'm trying to give. I'm trying to build a business. Like, social media is a perfect example because I have to give free value, right? I have to give such a high frequency form of abundance in the form of social media content that you guys come watch me on YouTube. And only when I master this do I get paid. I don't even take monetization from YouTube. My goal is to do workshops with you guys going forward. But it all starts with this type of abundance. It all starts with this type of service. But get it. I'm being a person that gives. I spend every day coming back to this information, this wholeness, trying to find states of meditation, even states of walking meditation, where I'm no thing, no mind, no body, no time. I'm just present, which allows me to fall into that unity, that unified field. And from there, I can create abundance. And when I create and get the response from you guys, things start to overflow and I get so much love because I'm becoming the source of what I seek. I want to be the creator I never had. I needed someone to have this conversation with me and be like, Grant, the path you're on is going to lead to destruction because it's rooted against natural and universal law. It just messed me up. But I had to learn these lessons. I had to go through those trials and tribulations. I had to walk through the fire so I could be here before you and provide this wisdom. This is life experience. This is no notes. This is off the dome. And this is my pursuit of truth. So, ladies and gentlemen, the $1 million frequency starts with who you are being. Because once you be someone new, you're going to do new things and you're going to have new outcomes. But you need to understand what that state of being looks like in the higher frequencies, what that power looks like, what that source looks like. Because it is not coming from a place of force. It is not consuming, waiting for something to happen, sucking life out of the room. It is not living in a place of lack, because you have so much to be grateful for when you expand the big picture. When you look at the fact that we're actually alive right now, that is the gift of life. We came to this earth as kings and queens. We've just been programmed to forget it. And if you live in that state of lack and scarcity, it's falsehood. It is literally not true. It is literally inverted divinity. It is an inverted sense of truth that's keeping you paralyzed in a state of illusion because you are so focused on getting something in return. You're so focused on receiving, which has you in that inverted, outdated paradigm of the universe. Have, do, be. But if we can switch it and become aware of the things we're being leading to the things we're doing, which lead to the things we have, we can start to give. Because through consuming information like this, through meditating, you're going to come back to a sense of wholeness. It is your natural state. It is the source energy. You're going to be so full in that realization, you're going to need no thing because it is your natural state. You become present with what is, which leads to a state of unity. And when you come to the state of unity, you create. And when you create from this place of energy, you're channeling the certain frequency you sought. And that's going to show up in how you give to people, how you serve in business, which is going to lead to abundance, which is going to lead to your cup overflowing even more from love. And you're going to realize this entire time you started to align with the source because you finally realize you can become the source of what you seek because it is your God-given right. Man was created in the image of God. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this video is hitting home for you. That's all I got for now. I got nothing but love for you. I'm excited to keep this rolling, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.